Scorpio, it's Empress Rose here, and welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. As with everything in life, if I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, check your other major placements. If I do catch your storyline on this reading, you can go ahead over to the extended, which will be on Vimeo. And over there, we'll explore more of the oracle cards. But right here, we're going to do a traditional tarot spread with more traditional tarot cards. Already shuffled, and I'm cutting the deck. From the bottom of the deck, for the overall of the reading, we have 7 of Cups. This 7 of Cups has always confused me. Can you see it? We're dealing with like a ring light here and lighting issues because it's nighttime here or dark. I just wasn't quite done with my day. I wanted to do a reading. So 7 of Cups. So normally I talk about like intellectually thinking through an emotional choice, having a lot of options, and trying to figure out what's going to make you happy, what's going to bring you joy. But this one, we have something being unmasked, something willing to reveal itself. And then we have sort of this treachery, this treacherous monster weaving its way through your cups, through your feelings and your happiness. It's just such an interesting depiction of this card. So is this the intellect? Is this the reptile mind getting a hold of your higher intuitive mind, of your emotions, and working its way through that, trying to and like dealing with some sort of difficulty, while also and fears, dealing with reactions as you try to see something more clearly, as you try to make a decision and try to make choices about what's going to make you happy. There's some sort of fear that winds its way through here and maybe interfering with a better decision-making process. There's also a sense of seeing something more clearly or trying to see something more clearly, being in the process of being more honest with yourself about something. And that can actually be opposed to fear. Sometimes we think fear is being honest about ourselves, honest with ourselves, right? About what could happen. We sometimes are very cynical, and our fears can masquerade as something very logical, when in fact they may be incredibly illogical or just one part of a whole overall picture of possibilities. So I feel like we're looking at that possibility with this 7 of Cups. And the other option is for you to just take the traditional 7 of Cups meaning, which is, trying to make a choice over what's going to make you happier and what's going to be better for you in the long run, having some options and making a decision. So sometimes I think what I'd like to do is take all of my tarot decks and take my favorite cards out of each one and make like just some sort of like, I don't know, bastard of tarot card decks, like just all the ones I like, and just make a unified tarot deck. Maybe I will. It just seems like a lot of work though, but it sounds fun too. All right. In your past, we have Strength. We have 6 of Wands. We have, in your present situation, 6 of Wands. Well, that sounds cool. In your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, we have 8 of Pentacles. And what's at issue is a reversed Artist. This is your external situation. The Emperor. I'm apparently doing this very differently than normal. Your to-do list is going to be the 5 of Swords. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And then your possible outcome, though, is 4 of Wands. So that's good. Okay, let's start with your past. We have Strength, something that you haven't quit. You maybe felt like quitting. You maybe thought like it would be very reasonable to quit this, but you didn't quit. You kept going. It's required a lot of inner strength, taming some inner demons, being very strong, holding to your ideals, holding to what you stand for and what you want out of a situation, even when it wasn't going your way. In a way, taming some sort of part of yourself and getting it under control so that it doesn't run away, doesn't devour anyone. This can be working with your temper, but it could also just be not quitting in a difficult situation, right? So not quitting in a difficult situation. Oh, there's something about strength. Determination, will, you've been very determined for something. And it looks like there's been some payoff. 6 of Wands is you, current situation, you are victorious, you've achieved something, and people are happy for you. This is a pretty visible achievement, and you achieving this thing actually was a benefit to other people. Other people were able to benefit from your from what you did and what you accomplished, and they support you, and so this is a lot of community support. This is a lot of people happy for your skills, happy for what you've been able to accomplish, benefiting from what you've been able to accomplish, and a lot of joy and happiness there for people able to be happy for you, supporting you, community support for what you want to do. You didn't quit, and people are really proud of you. Your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape is this 8 of Pentacles. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about more work. You're thinking about work that really resonates with you. Either you're wanting work that really resonates with you, or you might be worried about some kind of work situation or having too much work. But this work is actually pretty absorbing. So it almost seems like it's something that you would want, I would think. Some work that's very absorbing. It may be a little repetitious. It may be a little bit boring at times. Most work is. That's why they have to pay us to do it. So it can be a little repetitious, and it can be a little boring, but there's also a sense of bringing something of yourself into the world. So maybe you stuck with something, you achieved something, but maybe you're looking for some work that resonates a little more with you, some sort of job or some sort of work that really resonates with you. This could be a relationship that you stuck with, and now there's something really great happening. But you're also, okay, well, what about my work life? What's going on here? So there's just contemplation about work, about meaningful work, about bringing work that resonates with you, that reflects who you are, even though it can get boring at times. So that's your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. So that's something that you're thinking about and you're considering. What's the issue here? I feel like this reading just threw me all of the most difficult to read cards that there are in this particular deck. This 7 of Cups really drives me crazy, but we get clarification over here with this 5 of Swords. So that'll be good. But this Artist card, this actually makes a lot of sense. It can be frustrating to read, but it's in reverse here. This would be lack of inspiration. And the Artist upright actually reminds me a lot of this 8 of Pentacles card, because the artist is, he's rendering his art. He's seeing the real world, he's seeing reality, and he's putting his own spin on it, creating his own sort of reality, his own sort of personal expression. So there's a way in which you're not being able to express yourself. There's a way in which there's no avenue for personal expression. And part of this 8 of Pentacles is wanting to find work that you do get to bring parts of yourself into the work that is absorbing. And this is, maybe you achieved a lot, maybe you stuck with something for a while and you achieved a lot, but it's not really absorbing. You're not really inspired by it. You're not really feeling like your vision and your own creativity is finding a place in the world. And it's interesting because we've got this 8 of Pentacles here that's just kind of echoing this whole card. This is in your inner landscape. So I know that you're just thinking about this. Why would you be thinking about this if you were already fulfilled with your work? If you already found it good? Now, not every Scorpio is going to be unfulfilled with their work. This could be something else. And this isn't necessarily, I don't divide these readings by sign so that because every Scorpio in the world is going through this. I divide them by sign to just make it a little easier to find something that resonates, because reading for everybody is too confusing for me as a reader. I don't know how the readers do it. I admire the skill, but I don't have it, or maybe I do, I don't know. But I find it overwhelming. So this is so not every Scorpio on the whole planet is going to be going through the same thing at the same time. That's why we look for readers that resonate with us and have our storyline. So this is work you're thinking about it. So in my mind, you're thinking about work because about work that's satisfying. If a little boring at times, you can handle that, but it is satisfying and it's a way to bring part of yourself into the world. It's a calling, and you're thinking about it. Why would you be thinking about wanting that? Hoping for that? Why would you be hoping for something you already have? So this is about feeling very uninspired with the work ahead of you, not feeling like you're bringing your vision to reality. Maybe there's just too much reality and a little less vision. Maybe there's not enough creativity and a little too much just straight facts, or not just straight, but it's too boring. Something here is too boring and you want something very absorbing. So even though you've been successful in something, it hasn't really rung your bell. It hasn't been very satisfying for you. Everybody else is happy about it. Everybody else is looking at what you've done and what you've accomplished here, and they think it's pretty cool. But you're like, is this really what I want? Is this I didn't really feel like I was able to express parts of myself. And this could be like your regular work doesn't just, you can express part of yourself in that work, but not the whole self. And there's parts of you that maybe want to find their expression in reality, but they're not able to at this point. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. So in your environment, we have the Emperor here. Now the Emperor, this is about control and power. So someone, you have a boss, you have someone that has a lot more control over the situation than you do. This is telling me that you don't actually have a lot of power here, that you're thinking about work that's more satisfying, that you didn't feel like you were able to really express yourself. You haven't felt like you can really express yourself. But in your environment, someone that's not you, something in the situation, the Emperor to me is always about power. Who has the power? Who almost has the divine right to control a situation or have a say in a situation. And this showing up in your external means to me that it's not you. Whoever it is, it's not you. You don't have a lot of power and control in your situation. So maybe you accomplished something, but you didn't accomplish it in the way that you wanted to accomplish it, or you didn't accomplish it in a way that really resonated or made sense. You followed the instructions, you did what they wanted to do. Maybe you were at loggerheads with this person and you had to do what they wanted you to do because they were the boss, they're in charge, and you had to let something go. And it wasn't very satisfying. It maybe was successful, but it wasn't very satisfying as far as a personal expression. You didn't feel like you really had a say in the situation, and your vision was railroaded. So this is someone that has a lot more control than you do in this situation. That's all this is power. It's taken you a lot of strength to endure this power dynamic where you're not the one, this power struggle and this power dynamic where you're not the one that gets to say how it's going to be. You didn't like the poster that was made for the concert, or you didn't like, what else? You didn't think the display was very good, but you had someone that was like, it's good and we're doing it. And you didn't quit, although you may have really felt like quitting. You did not quit. But this was really difficult to deal with, this power dynamic and someone else having a lot more control over the situation than you did. So what I find really interesting is that this card that was so hard for me to read is sort of being reiterated over here with this Five of Swords, your to-do list. So the Five of Swords isn't a great card. It's not foretelling doom and gloom. It's just foretelling, like, he's the thinker. He's thinking about his choices. He's thinking about his decisions. There are other people in this card and they're walking away, right? This is where he was like, well, I'm going to take my swords and go home, and I'm going to take your swords too. And then his playmates were like, this is the dumbest game ever, and just left. So, but his options were limited. I feel like I'm not telling the story very well, but his options were kind of limited. So to me, this is a card of difficult choices. One person here was going to take all the swords. It was sort of a winner-take-all situation. Somebody was going to take all the swords. Was it going to be you, or was it going to be someone else? So sometimes this card shows up in a choose you. Okay, someone's got to win. This is not a win-win situation. This is a win-lose-lose situation. People are going to lose. People are going to win. What one do you want to be in this situation? You can be anybody in this card card. You can be this guy who got all the swords but lost his friends. You can be these people who lost their friend and their swords. But what this card always talks to me about is there's not a good option here. There's not a clear option. There's not a clear choice. You're going to have to really think it through, figure it out, meditate, contemplate, deal with all of those things, go very internal, right. He's in the thinker pose, the famous sculpture, the thinker. He's in that pose because this is not an easy choice. So I like this card actually a lot. I just said I didn't like it, but I like it a lot because it does connotate to me, or it does reference that there are difficult choices. There are a lot of difficult choices. And this is one of them where the options aren't really clear of what you're going to do, which is exactly what we were getting out of here. That you have a difficult decision. And with these, this one was cautioning against fear, trying to see things more clearly. And this one's acknowledging it's not an easy choice. It's not an easy decision. You're just going to have to make your best guess and go with it. And you might end up losing something in the process. You might end up having to sacrifice something in the process, either your swords or your friends or something like, so it's just a really difficult decision. To me, it errs on the side of choosing yourself, choosing what works for you and what's going to work best for you. And you may end up losing something in the process. And that's kind of a little bit of how it goes sometimes here. And this card just really acknowledges that. So difficult choices, you're making them. I don't think this is a surprise to you. This could be a choice of whether you're going to leave this job or stay with it. You stuck with something, it was successful, but it wasn't satisfying. So are you going to stay with that or are you going to leave that? It could be a relationship too, where you've stayed a long time, you've hit some sort of milestone, but it's ultimately unsatisfying. It doesn't really represent you or what you were wanting. Something may have happened where you're not really satisfied with it. Someone else, the power dynamic may be a little skewed in the relationship and you're not sure what to do. You stuck with it for so long. This is actually reminding me of like the logical fallacy of, I forget what it's called, but throwing good money after bad. Like you've already invested so much money in something and you've lost it all. And so, well, I've already lost $40 on this. So I'm going to, I want to get that $40 back. So you just keep pouring money into something, or like a job that's unsatisfying and you keep staying because you've been there a long time. You've gotten some good raises and maybe someday it'll turn into something else, right? You've already invested a lot of time. So rather than jump ship, you're going to stick with a bad investment. So but sometimes there's reasons to do that. So this is just tough choices. Are you going to, maybe even bail on a company, where you know everybody, you love everybody, but you're just not getting paid what you think you can? Or are you going to stay with it because you love everybody and sacrifice higher pay? Or, just difficult choices. But here's a possible outcome to entertain, and consider. Four of Wands, leveling up. This would be a promotion. This would be an engagement. This is some sort of probationary period is over and both parties decide that they ultimately do like it and they would like to commit to further working together in the future. And not only that, they're planning for working together more in the future. They're creating a plan for that this next level and for the level after that. So it's almost like a planning phase. It's like you went through the whole dating period. So as a metaphor, you went through the whole dating period and now you've decided, let's get married. And things have worked out so far. This is actually going pretty well. So let's get married. And then that entails a whole planning for the marriage part. So not only is it a new phase, but it's a new phase that plans for the phase after that. So you could be leveling up something. You could end up recommitting to something. It's a possibility. It could be possible with this. You could end up recommitting to something. But one of the things with this card that is similar to the Six of Wands card, right? We have these two Wands cards, is that there's public support. This is a public statement. This isn't usually a card that's done in secret. This is telling other people, and sometimes this card is depicted with a party going on, of a celebration of harvesting, it's like the mid season, like you've harvested something already and we're celebrating that, and there's more to harvest in the future, and we'll celebrate that when we get there. So you could be ending up recommitting to something and enjoying that, and planning for even more of a future with something. So this wouldn't be something new coming in. This would be something else, something you've been dealing with already, and deciding that you actually do want to stick with this and see where it goes. It depends on how long, it depends on so many factors. So, all right, Scorpio, if that made any sense to you, if that was useful, join me over on Vimeo. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And as always, I appreciate your comments and likes and subscribes.